Now this is going to be a pretty hard video to make because my last videos was on Eva, Jose, and Oshinoko. And now we're talking about another very wholesome but tear-jerking series, the final Violet Evergarden movie. Deadass, from here to the end of 2021, I'm only going to watch reruns of K-On! And Nana Biyori. Honestly speaking, this was a very hard movie to watch, not because it's the last installment of my favorite series of all time, but also knowing that a good amount of animators who worked on this project are now dead. It's like when Haruma committed suicide in 2020 and you just couldn't watch anything he was in after his death. But here we are, the final Violet Evergarden movie, and I'm here to give all my roses to the series that I've been religiously following since 2018. So Revi, give us that "See You Space Cowboy" send off. The first thing I want to say is that this movie is just such a perfect ending to the overall series. I really appreciated how they interweaved past characters as they exited the final stage, and you just felt the burning passion of the whole Kyoani staff within this project. To a certain extent, it was a pretty predictable ending. From the get-go, you knew that Gilbert was alive, and through the miraculous inner workings of love, he would somehow end up in a lover's embrace with Violet at the very end. Instead of focusing on the destination, for me, it was the individual themes of this movie that spoke to me on a spiritual level. Let's first focus on Violet and her completion of her character development. From episode 1, her character was built around Gilbert's parting words of "I love you." Being a killing machine for a pretty good portion of her life, and she got a pen game stronger than Eminem, Mom spaghetti. Violet struggled with the concept of love all throughout the main series. It was through the ironic combination of writing with mechanical hands with this huge ass mechanical typewriter for different lover and friends that through that process, she finally understood what love meant. And the number one prime example of Violet finally being able to embrace her human emotions is when she was ugly crying when Gilbert told her that he won't see her. I mean, if episode 1 Violet saw this version of Violet bawling her eyes out with boogers coming out and shit, she would be like, "Girl, why are you crying harder than a North Korean crying after Kim Jong-il died?" And let me just say, Yui Ishikawa, like, girl, I know you be killing it with Mikasa and stuff, but at this point, this too easy for you. The reason why this crying scene was so important was that it showed the audience that Violet was finally able to break away from the shackles of her upbringing. The years of her senseless killing and her suppressing her emotions is now no more. Now, the second thing I kind of want to talk about that actually gave me pretty good goosebumps was Gilbert's character arc. The importance of Violet reaching her final form was her being able to break through Gilbert's closed off heart. It was truly a poetic depiction of how the tables have turned. Gilbert first showed love and what love meant to Violet when she had nothing and was just used as a weapon. But after 4 years, the script has completely flipped and Violet is now looking after the broken Gilbert. Gilbert's character at this point was embracing the theme of running away from one's problems. He was sick of seeing people dying, seeing the people he loved get hurt, and he hated his position as a person in power. And of course, he was just so disgusted with himself for getting Violet involved with the war in the first place. So Gilbert decided to run away because he was afraid. Because for him, it was easier for him to not get involved because he had things to work on, such as teaching kids or harvesting grapes. Now is not a good time to think about Violet and his real life problems. His character arc really spoke to me because I too ran away from my problems when I was 18. I moved from my hometown in California all the way across to the other side of the country in New York City. There were many reasons why I moved across the country, but the most obvious reason was because in my hometown, my best friend stabbed my back by taking the girl I loved. So even though I was in New York City and I was super happy to just get away from this toxic environment and now being in this new refreshing environment, it didn't change the fact that I couldn't run away from the demons in my heart. the trust issues, the anger, the spitefulness. I wanted to bury that brokenness, so like Gilbert, I would mindlessly but diligently working like 80 hours a week, studying all night, and just trying to excel with academics and work. But the point where I knew things had to change was when I made it, when I got the money, the nice clothes, and the nice job. I found myself one day eating by myself at a really nice restaurant all by myself. As I was cutting into that steak, it could have might as well been my heart, because at that point, I never felt so empty in my life. But thankfully, just like Violet's final on-screen letter, I came across a very important friend that woke me up. He showed me what true brotherhood looked like, and honestly, I never ran into someone that wanted my dreams to happen more than myself. It was that fateful encounter that gave me the courage to jump into the sea of uncertainty. And bro, I actually met with my backstabbing friend in person to reconcile. And the crazy thing is, he had no idea I felt this way about him. And the even crazier thing is, I didn't care. Because from that point onward, the illusions of his betrayal is no longer my master. So now we come across the final theme I want to talk about, which is the generational influence of Violet Evergarden. Now I know I stated in the beginning of the video that I didn't really want to watch this movie because my heart wasn't ready. But did they really have to hit us with that Anne story in the first 10 minutes of the film? But taking a step back, I think one of the really genius things about this movie was how it broke the fourth wall. Through Anne's granddaughter, Daisy, it just shows us how Violet's role as a doll and her writing appealed on a generational scale. I know this isn't Kana Akatsuki, the author of Violet Evergarden's intention, but in this same light, Violet as a body of work is going to appeal to the future generation of anime fans. Even though technology made Violet's profession obsolete, it doesn't deny the good work that Violet did in her lifetime. Even though Akatsuki-sensei did a 100-hit combo on my heart, hitting me with that little boy's tragic story, also hitting us with Gilbert's and Violet's touching reunion, she annihilated me when Minori's ending song started to play. Like, come on! I'm not out here trying to have an ugly crying competition with Violet. Hey, on a serious note though, thank you so much Kyoani. Thank you to Kana Akatsuki sensei, the whole Violet Evergarden VA cast, for just giving us such a gift, such a masterpiece, such a goated anime series. Even though we still wanted the actual Gilbert and Violet marriage scene animated, I have 1 terabyte of marriage fan art, so we good. And ultimately, just talking to you guys, I hope this series really spoke to you as much as it did for me. Man, it's weird closing the book on my favorite series, but this might be one of the last times I make a video about Violet Evergarden. So, it was a fun ride. This has been your boy Yi-Man. Peace out.